Today is August 27th. My name is Dr. Jason Higgins. I'm in Roanoke, Virginia at the Hollins Public Library. And today, joining me for an oral history interview is Mrs. Deborah Saunders. This interview is part of a project entitled Crossing the Military-Civilian Divide, Oral Histories with Marginalized Veterans of Virginia. Before we get started, I wanted to ask for your permission to record this interview.
Yes, you have my permission.
Excellent. And I usually ask all veterans this question, do you have access to counseling services?
Yes.
Okay, I always want to make sure before I do interviews that resurface any difficult memories in someone's life. And
yeah.
Okay. Usually how I begin is a couple of biographical questions. I understand that you served in the military. Which branch did you serve in?
United States Army.
And how many years did you serve about?
I'm not going to discuss that because that's kind of debatable right now. I got to get something revised on my record. So.
I understand.
But a lot of years.
Okay. Well, let's just start with where were you born? When were you born?
I was born in Bedford County, Bedford Hospital, February the 9th, 1957.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
I grew up actually in a couple of places. Most of my childhood was spent in Goodview, Virginia, which is, I don't know how familiar you are with this area, but it's down below from Benton, then down below Stewartsville, so it's way out in the country. And I lived in Goodview until I was 9 years old, and then we moved to Roanoke, Virginia.
Is this a rural type of area?
Very rural. You can't get much more rural than that.
Did you grow up? Was this a farm that you grew up?
A very big farm. It was awesome. It was very huge farm.
And do you come from a large family?
Well, it's big and extensive. I have 4 brothers. I have, and I grew up in the country, so all kinds of aunts and cousins. And yeah, I'd say it was a big family. And I grew up with a bunch of them. My mother had 11 brothers and sisters, and I grew up with very younger. I want to say the younger 6 of them. And the rest of them was older. The younger ones was around my age. Because my brothers grew up in New York. My parents divorced when I was young. So my head brothers, they grew up in New York, Long Island, New York. And they would come visit in the country. But I actually grew up with my aunts, cousins. There was a host of them. So it was a lot of kids.
That's a large family. Sounds like a tight-knit community.
It was like a boarding house.
Wow. So did large families back in that day help with the farm? Was that...
I honestly think that maybe that's why they had some of the kids, in addition to the fact that they didn't have birth control back then early. But I think having the children to help work the farm certainly had a lot to do with it, because we certainly worked on the farm. You had all kinds of chores. Even the young ones had chores. We didn't have running water in our house. We had like outside foods. Sometimes you didn't have it outside. Otherwise, you just went out anywhere. But we didn't have running water inside. You had to heat your water up. So it was kind of rough life. You cooked on a wood stove. Everybody learned to cook. Women guys learned to cook all my meals because they could cook as good as, sometimes better than the girls. So, you had a lot of chores. The discipline was strict. I got a lot of spankings growing up, because it was a different mentality then. That's why the Army to me was easy, because I grew up in the woods. I was like, this is a field. A field is where I grew up. So, they didn't have the fun with me that they did with a lot of people, because they wanted it to be tough and hard. And to me, it was like throwing a rabbit in the brown patch, because I had grown up outdoors in the woods So I loved the Army because, they had chemical toilets. I didn't grow up with that. So it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
And I know that some of your family came from New York, but had generations of your family lived in that area for a long time?
Yeah. My biological father, he spent most of his time in he was in the military too.
Oh, okay.
Several of my uncles, two other uncles that lived in New York, Long Island and Mount Vernon, they were in the Army. I have no relatives in New York. Most of them in Mount Vernon. I think all was in Mount Vernon. Other except for my brothers, they live in Long Island.
Mm.
The rest of them, I think, live in Mount Vernon. But yeah, certainly.
So your mother's side of the family was from Virginia, then?
Yes, I think most of my father's, he had a lot of people in Virginia too, but a lot of them branched out, I guess, because especially the ones that was in the military, like my father and his brothers, they two of them branched out in Mount Vernon. But almost all of her mother's family was in Virginia. Yeah, they get back here. Even now, most of them are still in Virginia.
How were family stories passed down through your family? Do you know any family history in some way?
Working on that now. Uh, they did they didn't do the best job of keeping good records. Taking pictures back then, you're very, very young PhD doctor. But back then they had something, I don't know if you ever heard of it, called swinger cameras. And you press the button and in about 15 seconds, a picture would come out.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like those little things they make a target now, except they were black and white. Horrible pictures. Horrible. These for black people. They didn't come out good at all. But, I hate those things. And so they didn't really have good, records back then, pictures. I don't have many young pictures at all, other than the school pictures that they took. I had them. But regular, they passed verbally. It was different then because they didn't talk to kids like they do now. When we grew up, children, your place was outside playing somewhere. Inside was like for the grown people sitting around talking, I mean, that's what we did most of the time. When you woke up, they would say, children, you go to play somewhere. Unless you were doing a chore or punishment, you were sick, you weren't in the house. Because it was outside, you had plenty of food, that's one thing about growing up on a farm, you had plenty of fruit trees, vegetables and stuff. So they did wasn't going to get hungry, so they just put you out. You were there until it was meal time and bedtime. So, it was, no, they didn't, it was a lot stricter then. There was a lot more respect for elders. We grew up saying, yes, ma'am. That's why the military was, they had a problem saying, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And I expected to say, because that's what we grew up doing, showing respect. Yeah. With something a lot of the young kids now don't even know, yes, ma'am. They don't even tell the parents, yes, ma'am. So, yeah, it was a lot stricter back then.
I see.
But, we talk, but not about genealogy and family, stuff like that. I found all of that out a couple of years ago, 2017, when I started chairing the family reunions. And that's when I started. I've been working on that and said that it's wide as she's the family tree is wide and deep. So I'm working on that now, actually.
Oh, that's a
That's a project in itself.
that is a project in itself. I understand. I'm curious. Do you have any favorite family traditions or celebrations?
The biggest family tradition that we have, and that's been passed down from generation as long as I know, and that's waning now. Pandemic has gained a big hit, but growing up, we always used to have church homecomings. Some people call them rallies, homecomings that we did every year. And it saddens me to say that with each generation, that's getting less and less popular. But when growing up, certainly we went every year to that. When you go and you're at church and you have food, all you can eat, you're there pretty much all day long. So that's not as popular with the young folks now. They just want to come get that food and leave. That's kind of, waning during COVID, I think they just pretty much like the one that we usually have. They didn't do it at all this year. So those old traditions, which have been very much about a tradition, seem to be waning.
It sounds like the church was really important to you.
Yeah, it did. We didn't go. Like I said, we were way out of the country, and it was kind of getting to church was not the easiest thing. It was sort of like doing a military maneuver. You had to go over creeks, and if you stepped, you fell in the creek. So, it wasn't something we did all of the time, and that's if you went to shortcut, and you didn't have a lot of church clothes. So you went, you might have one. It's not like kids now have excess. Back then, we were poor. Actually, we were poor as dirt. So actually, back then, we had like maybe one. I don't remember ever having more than maybe one or two good dresses. The rest of was school stuff. One pair of shoes. So, and you didn't go to church a lot because it was such a ordeal kid now. You walk and it was so close. We could walk to it. But, that once a year with the homecoming, right. But other than that, we didn't do a lot of going to church back then. And I can recall.
What about school? Was it difficult to get to school as well?
School was a nightmare. I lived through, my mom was enough to outlive through segregation and desegregation. Back then, you would pass many schools, get to, it comes back then, we went to the black schools. I went to a school called Body Camp in Bedford, Virginia. That was like first grade. I think the last school class was sixth grade. I went to Body Camp on up until the third grade. Then segregation hit. And from Body Camp, I went to a school called Stewartsville. All of the horror school. I'm so ready to stare. A lot of racial slurs. A lot of, unfortunately, I struggled myself because, and I'm a pretty good student, but I almost failed that fourth grade that year. I was like praying. So many of my family friends actually failed when they went to that school because it was very hard. It was very difficult. And so,
Were you treated any different between black teachers and white teachers at the integrated school?
They didn't have no black teachers there.
But compared to whenever it was segregated school, so I presume you have black teachers in your old school.
At the first school, it was all black teachers, and they were hard too. Don't get me wrong. I got my tail spanked there. I sure did stand at the corner, twirling around and showing my underwear with a criminal skirt on, which I guess they figured was too frisky. Then I started ending up in the corner for doing that. And I got a hand spanking. Because back then, teachers could spank you. Oh, they wore my hand out. And that was the only time I showed off at school. But they disciplined you. Those teachers were hard. And the classes were split back then. You might have half of the class was third graders and half was first graders. So you really got cheated on your education because they would spend so much time with the first grade and so much time with the third grade. Isn't that crazy? So, and that's what all of those classes that I think all of them were split like that. I know at least one of my grades was split like that. You were third and first grade. It was ridiculous.
So whenever the schools were integrated, then was this a larger school?
It was. Yes, it was a larger school, and it had better books.
Yeah.
But the teachers, they were not happy with segregation. It was closer for us because it took longer. It took like an hour and a half when we went to the black school, way down in Bedford County. And it was so far that we always saved something to eat for lunch. We always say something because of the bus breakdown, which you frequently did, and you didn't have something to eat. Or you might be 5 o'clock, so you'd be hungry because they had to come and fix the bus or transfer you to another bus. So it took longer. And even in the morning, you had a good time sleeping because you had plenty of time to get there. So if you had done your homework, you had plenty of time to do that job. But when we started going to the white school, which was then mixed once desegregation started, it was very close. It was very, very close. And you were there at that school, nothing like this. But back then, they made the blacks load road behind of the bus. So if they were usually cold, we got on there, and by the time they started picking up the white students, they were warm. So there was a lot of racial stuff back then. Oh, yeah, sometimes they didn't even pick you up. The guy that drove the bus was an alcoholic.
Oh my God.
Mr. So, and sometimes people how drunk he was, what kind of racial mood he was in. He wouldn't even pick you up. So we had a lot of days off back then. We did, if they did pick you up, you just went on home because it was too far to walk, So, and if it snowed, you didn't go. So if you woke up and it snowed a lot, so back then you missed, and you didn't make them up. It was just too many days to make up. If it snowed, you looked out, see it snow, and you was just like, oh hell, we off today. Because you were so far out, and it was too, it was cliffs and dirt roads and gravel. You didn't even go to school. You didn't just stay in the bed because you knew you weren't going to be going to school that day. So between the snow days and the days they didn't pick you up, you missed a lot of days. And back then, they didn't require you to make them up, because it was just too many. It was a lot more relaxed as far as they didn't have SOLs, and they didn't have certain required days you had to be there. Because it was just too many that you get.
Did the school calendar follow the harvest season? Were kids expected to work on the farm whenever they weren't in school at that time?
Most of those people in that area had a farm anyway, so almost all of them was working a farm anyway. Dukeview was nothing but farmland. Stewartsville right beside it was farmland, and as far as I could see, a lot of Fenton, a lot of that was farmland too. On our farm, we had my granddaddy David Dickinson's farm actually. He had every animal you could think of. We had horses, we had cows, we had chickens, we had hogs. My mom said we had a goat, although I don't remember that. Every kind of animal you could think of, other than turkeys. When I grew up, my mom had them when she was young. And we had to feed the animals and take care of them. So that's what I find it's a virtue.
Did your mom stress the importance of education in your life?
She did. Because when they grew up, there was so many of them. It was even harder for them, because, like I said, at one point we were all living together, and to me it was like a big boarding house. It was anybody was having a hard time. It seemed like I was always in that group. But it was a whole bunch of my cousins, aunts, all of us was in there. And you didn't have heat after dark. You did not have air conditioning. You had fans when you had a fan. Usually it was this kind of fan. And back then, they had something called fly sticks that they would put up in the ceiling to catch like flies and pests and stuff. And it would be covered flies before they took it down. And it did keep the fly control down, but it was not the most appealing thing to look at. And they would spray with bait and stuff. They had party lines, like several people on a telephone line. They had those old-fashioned kind, you still leave it to people, that rotary dial. And even I remember the party lines when they got them. And you could hear their conversation, they could hear yours. And literally, it was a mess. Oh, Jesus, it was hard. And literally, if you had an emergency situation, you had to hope and beg that they would get off. I remember being young, and I remember thinking, even being young, I was thinking, what if there's an emergency? But according to my mom, they usually did good if someone had an emergency. And yeah, that was bad. That party line.
Oh, so I'm curious about your formative education years and how you managed through that integration period and handled those difficulties.
Well, I didn't have we moved from the black school when I was in the third. I did up to the third grade in the black school. I had only 1 year at Stewartsville because our house burnt down. So we had to move to Roanoke. I was literally homeless for a year or so. We had moved up from the big house where so many people was in, and we had lived in a trailer for a while, and then we got in a house, and our house burnt to the ground. So we was homeless for a while. So we stayed with my grandmother, who was right. There was a small Jim Walker home, which was those real cheap houses that they threw up in the country. And we stayed there for several months, and then we ended up moving. I remember being in the fifth grade. Yeah, fifth grade. We moved to Roanoke. Yeah, I remember that year.
Once you went to Roanoke,
My first school in Roanoke was called Hurt Park, and I love the city. It was weird, running water, and heat out the dark. I remember we had gas heat out like, oh, this is the light. Why did the house burn that years ago? But you had city, but you had stores, closer. Church was closer. Oh man, I was like, look, this is the life. But city life was an adjustment because I remember I was poor, so I didn't have a problem with that. But I remember every day the kids that had more was getting the fights at playground. They go out because they were dressed nice. I was poor, so I fit right in. I didn't dress nice. I was like, decent military and stuff, but I was wearing none of that stood out. But I remember some of the richer kids in the fights almost literally. One girl that picked on her all of the time, but I think it was just jealous because she was pretty and had pretty clothes and stuff. The rest of them kind of only like me. We fit right there. But I remember that teacher was really strict. He whooped the hell out of kids when they were disrespectful. He maintained good control in the class. But outside, they didn't really monitor that good. I remember, I remember this one girl did like a block. And even to today, it concerns me that teachers do not do a very good job of monitoring bullies. And their people are picked on, and then they're hate to go to school. I think that was bad. That was one thing I remember. But my school was as close as that wall. It was right across the street. I love that. I didn't have to ride. I was used to ride for hours. And oh my gosh, I could walk home and eat for lunch. So it was just so much convenient. I loved it.
What were your favorite subjects in school?
Almost everything except for math.
Fair enough.
I'll be honest, I still hate math. I struggled. Being a nurse, I struggled with math. But it was a different kind of math, so I was able to deal with that. I hated math. Math was always a struggle for me.
So whenever you graduated high school, what were your plans for your life?
Initially, I had planned on going to med school. That's why it's the MCATs and Virginia Tech. And then I went to college, and when I got to college, after taking all the MCAT courses and stuff, I fell in love with nursing. And I went to Hampton University, and I took nursing. That's what I have my PhD there is nursing. And I did, I said, well, I'm going to take the pre-med curriculum. So that's when I started Hollins undergrad, and I took that pre-med curriculum. And then somewhere along the line, I decided, I'm going to go into the military. I was thinking, I'm going to go and get military benefits. But I didn't think I was going to stay in line. I didn't think I was going to be there all that many years. I just think I going enough to get benefits. But then time goes faster than you think. And next thing you know, you've been in 10 years, 12, 15. And so you know that you're now, you're a career soldier. You're traveling and stuff. So, but I went here as a nurse. So they didn't have to train me. So I went in as a first lieutenant.
So you had already graduated from nursing school. Did the family service, family history and military service inspire that? Or was it more you wanted to go into a career?
I was pretty adamant about what I wanted to do because I enjoyed nursing in the civilian world. So, you know, I wanted to, I patriotic. Back then, I guess I was patriotic because I wanted to serve my country. And they needed nurses. So, you know, when they offered to let me come in as a first lieutenant as opposed to a second, which most people usually do, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds good. And at that time I went in as a reservist. Initially I went in as a reservist. And I was like, oh shoot, because I'm like, I need to get better benefits than them. So then that's when I went active duty.
Okay.
So I did like 10 years reservist, and then I went active duty.
And how did your life change from going from reserve to active?
Drastically.
Tell me about that.
It is a big difference. Basically, I have to do things like basic with reservists is different active. So I had to do basic all over again. Active basic is different. It's more intense. So I had to do all of that again, which I love going to San Antonio. I learned a lot more. It was more responsibility. In the civilian world, the contrast is you know, it's very competitive being a head nurse or supervisor. You know, you got to fight everybody. In the Army, they make you do that. Even if you don't want to do it, oh, you're a supervisor, you know, you're going to be the head nurse. And so you're thrown into those charge positions, whether you want to or not. You know, you have to do a lot of training because when you go in the military, I went in thinking, you know, I don't get my master's and stuff while I'm in the military. Dang it, all the education you do is military because that's the main thing that they're focusing on. So it's very hard to get an education while you're actually in the military, under the military training. Right. That's why you see people coming out and they're working on their degrees and stuff. That's why you see me old as I am, 65, working on a master's now. So it's good to see you so young with your degree, smart. You did it early. Because you go in that military, all you're doing is military training. You know, and it adds so many years to your time there if they pay for it. Oh, they'll pay for it, but it's real odd how they compute for every year that they pay for. Oh, if you serve something like maybe 5 years, and so I'm like, oh hell no, I'm gonna get out the paper down on my own like I'm doing now, because both talking to the people that they had paid for, it was like donating the organ. You know, you could they keep stop loss and then it keeping you in there. So I was like, oh no, let's let to some of the other people who had let them pay for it. It's like getting out of the mafia. Right. They have a hard time coming out because they can add it to that time. And I'm like, you know, well, you bail, of course, and they're paying, and you got to retake. Oh, see how that could add up to years? Well, you know, so I'm like, oh no, just let me come out and do mine normally because I didn't want to do 10 years just do a master's because they paid for it. I'm like, oh shoot. No.
Interesting.
Well, any degree, you know, if they pay like a lot of doctors, it's like they can't get out of there. You know, they're in that almost a life, it seems, before they get up there. It's hard to get out if they pay for it.
So to get kind of a broader perspective on your service, you did 10 years reserve, 10 years active.
Yeah.
Can you give me a sense of when those decades were so I can put it chronologically?
80s, I'm in process. And there I came out on leave. So while I'm on leave, I'm still considered in the military. because they can call you up. So that's why I say I've got to get my time actually recomputed because of health reasons. I didn't get that done. I still got to do that done. That's why I'm waiting on that now.
I see.
But basically, they owe me 5 years on my time. So I'm hoping I'm not going to have to fight them. But my discharge paperwork gives me another 5 years. So when I came out on medical discharge, because I came out with fibromyalgia, I've got to get them to fix that. So I'm not really sure how long I'm going to have to go to get that corrected and fixed. But I'm like, somebody's fixing it, because if I'm on leave, then I'm still in the army technically. So I've got to get them to do the right thing. They're not going to want to do that because that's going to make a difference in my pay.
Right.
So, the only way I can get around seeing that they may fix that is if I agree not to have a change in my pay, which is not fair to me, but that might be the only way I can get them to change my time where it should be. Give me my extra 5 that I should. That's why that's right now.
So you get a percentage service-connected disability?
100%, but it took me 12 years to get that. And I came out with a lot of health problems. Even now, going to school, I get disability support. So, yeah, I have a lot. I came out with a lot of medical conditions. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but I am going to try to get on that's on my agenda, because President Biden is a fair president. I think he's fair. He had a son that served in the military. I think that makes a difference. So I'm hoping that he would do the right thing. We have several politicians here locally. I intend to meet with them all. And in fact, I probably meet with all of our politicians, Republicans and Democrats, to get that done. And if they fight that, you'll probably see me on TV with my signs protesting with a bunch of veterans.
So I definitely want to get to your advocacy for veterans. So I want to kind of stay in this chronological order. Could you tell me a little bit about how your job changed going active duty?
You have more responsibility. The expectation is that you will want to get promoted. In the reserve, it's kind of more relaxed.
And you were living locally in the reserve, is that correct?
I did, but you don't drill. I drilled, and I was lucky because I grew up at the Trust Memorandum of Agreement, which allowed me to do. I did 4 different kind of research at the Salem VA, which I love. I did blood transfusion. I did. It was one placebo versus a real drug. It was very good. They tested the lab work and all. Then I did a medical relocation versus a psych relocation. So it was 4 different onboard researches that I did at the VA. So that worked out good. But even with that, I had to travel. I ended up going to Walter Reed. My reserve units kept changing. I was in several combat support units. So I had Saco Maine, I had Brooklyn, Ohio, I had Syracuse, New York. So I was all over the place. And then I was Profus. So they had me, when you Profus, you deploy more. So I was everywhere. And then when I went active, it was more training. It was more, with the reserve, it was not as stressful. I found it wasn't as stressful with the reserve, but you also didn't have as good of benefits because you were active, you were protected more with your benefits. Reserve, it depends on your unit. You did get your rewards, you did get your privileges. It's good. I didn't really start getting good privileges until I was active. Reserve, you just kind of out there. There's no loyalty to you unless you're real in a regular unit, like say the one across the Salem VA. So it was kind of dependent on your unit, whether yada or who slept with the fool, because I remember training for people and, they we're all doing the same thing. And they got a handful of ripples. And we're like, what the hell? How class like this person's getting up? So it was, who slept with John or who's, buddy. It was more of a buddy system, I felt, in the reserve. It wasn't, you didn't get the kind of recognition that you should have all the time.
I see.
And you have to be strong in the reserve because, you travel to a lot of these places and, you're not traveling on a pack. You're traveling by yourself. So you got to be able to walk and talk yourself. I remember going to Atlanta. I had to meet up with that unit up there. So you had to get on those transportation systems and get to and from yourself. A lot of travel. But you did that with active too. But you had your pack. You had more people in groups traveling. So,
I see.
yeah, I love active.
Okay. Did you ever, can you tell me a little bit about the challenges of being in the military as a Black woman?
I can tell you it was being a woman, period. I was in that when Anita Hill was going through all that ridiculous mess with Clarence Thomas. To this day, I don't see how he's on the Supreme Court. I just felt that all that was a slap in the face to women. When I first came in, sexual harassment was pretty prevalent. It was nothing to hear off-color jokes sexually, racist jokes. You put up. I remember going to Seiko Bay, and everybody had red hair for me. The whole group was short with red hair. And it was like, they were like, who is this ice thinking up in here? So I remember them doing a lot of practical jokes. And I've never been one for practical jokes. Even that, I don't care for them because I think people get hurt. And I remember them and this was just to all the women, this just to me, if you're in the field, it's not a wise idea to put fake animals in the bed, like snakes and lizards, because those things are actually crawling around. And I remember they were the worst group, up in New York, for playing practical jokes. People like to scare the women and have them screaming. I'm like, really? So I didn't have a sense of humor, and they did that to me once because I cut up the rubber animals, and then they couldn't scare them. So they thought I had the worst attitude, but they didn't do that no more. That kind of immature stuff. So you put up with that. But back when I was coming along, it was a lot more sexual harassment, inappropriate conversation, until they started after Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas. They started cracking down on it. I went through several presidents when I went in there. And that's one change that was good. They cut down on there and when they got more respect. Racial got better with time. Of the first amount of years I went to, I be on the Black soldier now, especially as a reservist. What the hell is going on? So I think I got cheated by not getting a lot of the recognition that I should have got because I was dealing with sexism, racism. I think as what I saw was as time went on, the LGBTQ community was accepted more. Because when I first came in, it was like, someone looked like, they even looked like that would get, they would, dip before don't ask, don't tell. And I've actually worked with people, I couldn't tell what they were. So you didn't really know how to address them. You didn't want to say, sir, that's a man, like it is now, really. Now you can't sometimes tell. So you just say yes or no, like you're a Ph.D. person, like call you doctor. But, if you're out in the field, something you could tell. But, so that's changed. And that's, now that's more accepted because when I first started, that was not accepted. And I actually see some people get picked on and stuff like that. And,
It sounds like being not only
it wasn't many women.
right,
I'm gonna say that 30 years when I first started, it wasn't even less black women.
right,
So, and even now in Roanoke, if you say major, most of them are gonna think of me
right.
because I think I'm like the only black female major in Roanoke. So, most people call me major in most of the organizations that I'm in, and I'm in quite a few of them. Um,
Well, I was going to say, it sounds like a lonely position to be in your career.
It always has been. Even in the military, it's kind of like it's stuck there. Um, Ranks move slow when
Right.
I was in there. Now they're begging for people, but when I was in there, it was like very slow progressive.
This is pre 9/11.
I was actually in Alter People in 9/11, but it also depends on your chain of command. I've had good ones and I've had some really bad ones. With your good ones, they recognize your hard work. You got a good leader. Oh man, you could go out there. They give you your ribbons and stuff. I had one leader gave you that one leader like 4 ribbons. Doing 911, doing secret assignments and stuff. And it depends on your leadership. If you have a chain of command that don't tolerate mistreatment, if you got a supervisor that's a jerk, because I had one that started like that, and I reported that one. Oh, that crap won't tolerate it at Walter Reed. I have no more problem telling that one. But Fort Benning, Georgia, was the most corrupt chain of command I ever worked on. I know filed so many IGs and EOs, and I was writing.
Can you tell me what that means? IG?
Inspector General, equal opportunity complaints, grievances, because of sexual harassment, general harassment, mistreatment to me and my staff. Oh, I went through hell in Fort Benning.
After you reported those incidents, were you retaliated against?
Yeah.
In what way? Can you tell me about that?
Oh man, they talk about whistleblower laws. That's a joke. And one thing I would like to see change, after I actually finish grad school and get this master's, I'm actually going to PC to join like the was committee at the General Assembly, because one thing I can tell you, Dr. Higgins, they need to change. You can't have people that you're complaining about involved in the investigation against themselves, because that's what happened to me. Oh, I got demoted. Luckily, I'd been a psych nurse and I could deal with that because I'm like, I gave as good as they gave. They got as good as they got, because while they were harassing me, I was reporting them. Senator Warner, I don't know if you remember him, John Warner. Once I got him involved, he had so many people down there investigating, help, and looking into them and what they were doing. It pretty much brought a halt to what they were doing, because they put me through hell, and not just me. So, and my goal is to set it up so that no one who's in the military, who's going through, when you mention retaliation, you should never have the person that they're complaining about involved in any way in the investigation. Because if they have rank like they're full bird cattle, they're going to intimidate people who are under them. You need to have a person with higher rank investigate, say a full bird cattle, like a judge or somebody, because they're going to intimidate, which is exactly what she did. And I went through hell at Fort Benning. Luckily, I was a psych nurse and could deal with it. This is why you see so many soldiers commit suicide or homicide. When I hear that a soldier have went bad, I always think, how was they treating that soldier? Because I went through craziness, and stuff. And it's different when you're in the military, because you don't have the same options like when you're in the civilian world. what, you're doing now. When you're in the military, it's a whole different set, things you got to go through JAG. JAG is slow. And a lot of times JAG, the commander is over, their interests is chosen over yours. So it's really, really, I basically feared for my life the whole time I was at Fort Benning. I didn't fear for my life like that when I was in South Korea.
Wow.
And I literally saw a lot of people got killed in Korea because all Koreans there were Americans there, and people was getting killed right and down. As dangerous as Korea was, I knew it fear for my life the whole time I was at Fort Benning. Because when you got a chain of command that's corrupt, and but I do have a list of my witnesses, and I'm beginning to contact them now. Because I'm still packing some stuff from the Army, and you don't know how ecstatic I am that I'm coming across some of their names and stuff, and I'm going to contact them and see if I can get them together, and then I'm contacting their chief. And I can imagine the shock on this lady's face, because she probably figured, I kept her, got her out of here, because I was lucky enough to come out on a medical with benefits. I saw this woman kick so many people out who did it. They weren't expecting that. Civilians and military, she caused a lot of people their careers. And, my heart goes, I know a lot of major, so many people just caused their career. But I think, like I said, the only one that I think that might not still be different, and I have that they can track them down. I don't know where they are, but I know that federal FBI and all those people, I fully intend to find, and that's what I'll do as soon as I get my master's over.
So it sounds like you're really dedicated to justice.
I'm gonna get that fixed.
I wonder if you can tell me, where does that come from? Where does your advocacy for other people, for justice, and for civil rights come from?
Being a nurse, you advocate. As a nurse, I worked, before I went in the hospital, I worked on Ken Hospital. I worked at Hampton General. That's why I went to school in Hampton. I worked at Hampton General. I worked at Hospital Wealthy General. Here locally, I worked at Lewis Gale. So I've got good nursing background. I worked at nursing homes. So I worked in a lot of civilian hospitals before I went active, and then I started doing the hospital like Walter Reed, and then I oversee the South Korea, and then you do the field hospital. So I love nursing. I've done over 30 years.
And it sounds like you're really dedicated to helping people.
And I advocated. I always advocated for the patients when I was in there. Sometimes even with the because I'm not going to say civilian hospitals don't have corrupt legals, because some of them do too. So even as a civilian nurse, I always advocated for the patient. Because they're dependent on you.
Part of this project is really about the transition from military life to the civilian world. Can you tell me about your experiences doing that? I understand you got a medical discharge.
I did. Transitioning to me was frustrating because when I came out, I didn't want to come out. And once again, I feel like the government screwed me and messed me over several times, because I went to, like I said, I was on TDRL status, and then they sent me to Fort. I had a couple of physicals, because you have to still stay in shape with your TDRL, because they can call you back and they let you know you're still technically in the Army, so we need you back. Bill of Saunders, that was a critical MOS, they could have called me back. So I went to Portsmouth for, I think, 3 physical exams, the last one and 2 before my last one. And then part of that, you do a mental, they sent me to Fort Eustis. Fort Eustis messed me over. Dr. B-Tac in behavioral health, I remember she did not get my paperwork to Walter Reed, which was open then. So then that took away my options to go back in, because she didn't get the paperwork in time. We all got dropped from the system. My mother, who was a dependent, my daughter, and me. And I was like, just out there at that time with no, if I hadn't had TRICARE, I would have been screwed. So basically, they were like, if you want to get some kind of coverage, you got to go on out. So I was forced out because she didn't get it in Walter Reed on time. So that's twice the Army done screwed me. So I've got to really, Dr. Higgins found a very good lawyer. So I'm going to be sending Senator Kane, Warner, Senator Edwards, who was the only veteran around here, I might add, because most of them have not served in the military. And I'm going to see what we can do to get, and this will campaign year, that's the time to try to get stuff done. Because if they're campaigning, they're more likely to work with you because they want to get people's votes. But that's why, in addition to working on my master's, getting some of this done, they school my daughter with benefits. So I need to get that fixed.
Well, you mentioned your daughter. Could you tell me a little bit about family life in the military?
Family life in the military, if you're single, because I was divorced, I had divorced my husband. The latter part of my military career. So my mother, actually, you have to have a power of attorney because you're going to be going overseas and stuff, and you have to have someone to take care of your child. So that's frustrating, if you have a child. But, you have to do what you have to do because once you get out, they're going to have good benefits. It's going to pay for that school. But it's hard to leave them when they're young, So it was kind of hard because when I went to Korea, my daughter was like 9. So that was hard for her then because I would have stayed on my career. I'd have stayed longer if, should have been older. I would have extended. But, so that's the hardest thing about when you travel and have to be deployed back to back and you're leaving your child. It's hard on them. Just one career. It's hard on them. My mother did good with her, but she's older too. So, it's hard on her to do all of that to be doing all of that. My mom right now is 84. So, she did excellent with my daughter. But you do feel guilty. You feel very guilty when you're leaving your child, and then you feel kind of helpless because you literally have given away your rights to someone else to be in control and take care of your child. So it's a lot of guilt there. But, you tell yourself you're serving your country, so that's why it's extra frustrating when you're serving your country and you got a corrupt chain of command. You're like, now this something's got to give. I can't be trying to serve my country and I'm dealing with retaliation, being mistreated, and not just you. You're looking around and seeing your other comrades and your coworkers get going through, and nothing's being done. So that's the frustrating part, I would say. But that's both my daughter and my mother, both dependents. I worried about them. I know how it.
Sure. Tell me a little bit about your life after the military. What kind of projects have you been involved in?
You have to readjust because it's different. You have to acclimate again to civilian life. Because in the military, you have power. You're very respected. You're traveling, which I love to travel. Not necessarily by plane, but that's the fastest way. It's slow, it's like 22 hours going to South Korea. But when you come out, you do have that instant prestige because they respect, that you're military, coming out with a picture, right? That's pretty decent. Not as high as I would have liked to have been, but it's pretty respectful, right? But come out, but when you come out, I was really surprised at what I felt when I came out. Because you serve 100%. You go in, you basically sign your life on the line saying, I'm signed, sealed, delivered yours. I'm a blank check. Send me where you want to. That's what you do. They tell you they're going to give you a wish list. And I always wrote down places like Italy, Spain, Hawaii, France. They'll do this. They'll say Iraq or South Korea. Which one you want? Afghanistan or Africa? So wish list is basically a joke. So you come out and then you're not really, to me, they don't treat the veterans, the older veterans, I'll tell you honestly, like they should. Now, I like that the newer, younger veterans, when they come out, they do right by them. Because if they've served in Iraq, if you're a combat veteran, instantly almost you're 100%, because they figure you got PTSD, because blew a leg off, or if you have a face that's gone, or something like that. Okay, which they should do. But if you come out intact, for the most part, then you come out and it's not instant 100%. And that's what I think is wrong. Because I think, and I'm going to be fighting to get that. Like I say, you probably going to see me on TV, because I think if you serve at 100%, when you come out, you should be given 100% benefits. It's not like that. When you come out, like I came out on a medical at 40%. Now they did pretty good by me. They immediately gave me up to 90%, which I thought they should have did 100. Because they had like migraines and vertigo. I had all kinds of stuff. Like if I show you my chart, which I will show you, you're gonna say, "Damn, you should have had 300%." Migraines is horrible. But they take years. It took them 12 years to calculate 100%. And I have 2 brain tumors. So I'm on disability support at Hollins because they're to give that. I go to UVA to get monitored because they have a brain tumor team down there. And, I'm like, why am I fighting, taking so long with all this going on? I could kill it. I think sometimes they just hope you die. And I think that's what most veterans feel when they have a like one on and they take years to get to 100%. So to me, they were slow. Get me to 100%. And they do that to all veterans. That's not just me, it's all of them. But once a year, it's going to depend on your chain of command, because if you come out, your chain of command have the power to say, oh, she deserves 100%. She's got all of this, but all of those diagnoses that I had going on. If I had done something like career, the doctor was real supportive, or DC, I would have came out 100%. Would have took me 12 years. So that's wrong for the veterans, because that means they're getting less pay. They're having to run around and do all these things that's required for them to get these benefits. Crazy. So I was disappointed in that the way the system was set up, people coming on zero service connection and all of that, and didn't have to fight for benefits, and I felt that they should have gotten more time. And that's why I'm also in DAB, another veteran organization, and I'm actually now learning how to help write them up so that they can get benefits. And I'm going to make sure that I tell them every shortcut that I know that will help them get them faster, so they don't be 12 years when they got 2 or 3 brain tumors and migraine headaches and getting Botox to the head, 25 shots, so that it don't take them as long as it took me, because that was ridiculous. I'm going to show you my doctor, and people say, damn, because they need to do better with that.
So can you tell me how veterans organize in order to get those benefits? You mentioned the DAB.
A lot of them never organize, because a lot of them, in order to get your benefits, you've got to be proactive. You've got to be a fighter. With me, I can't outswing it and fight. You've got to go to your appointments. You've got to pick the right kind of appointments for what you have. You got to take your medicines. And a lot of veterans won't do that. And even if they get 100%, a lot of them lose on themselves because they don't continue that. It's like a merge. You know what you do to get a good mate, right? You got to keep that up once you get your benefits. You can't get your benefits and say, oh, hell, I got them. I'm not going to take the medicines no more. I'm not going to go on. Then you leave. So I don't know if you notice or not, but they are decreasing people's benefits and taking some of them away because they don't continue the same thing they did to get on. If you were going to see psych doctors or neurologists, I see about 12 specialists. I see specialists at Lewis Gale, UVA. I'm giving to go up to John Hopkins. So you can't just be sick one day and not sick the next day, and I make sure all of them get my medical records from all of those places. You got to be aggressive. You got to be a fighter. Because if you're not, even if you deserve benefits, they're going to take them away.
So it sounds like the system is designed to prevent.
The system is designed to screw you. So if you're not, and that's why I formed this organization. If you're wondering, I didn't like veterans, because when I came out, I already had been screwed basically by the army, making me wait, fight. But I saw that the veterans were angry. They were angry. I was angry, so I could understand it. They were depressed. It was a lot of PTSD. I had all kinds of people being sexually harassed in the army, demoted and mistreated, and stuff. So I knew how they feel when I saw people getting dishonorable and less than honorable, crazy discharges and stuff. My heart went out to them because I knew what I had went to. So I immediately started, I started doing climate reviews, climate surveys and talking to them. And I found that was the biggest emotion. Most of the veterans were angry. Some of them were suicidal. Some of them was homicidal, very depressed, frustrated, because a lot of them came out with nothing, and they didn't have, they had some crazy, like a 10% service connection, or no, and I found that most of the Black veterans had crazy discharges. They had like no service connection, or 10% or 5%, so crazy number. And so that's why I said, this is not going to work. So, I started being with the politician then. I found that we had a lot of homeless veterans, even in my organization, we got homeless veterans. And I found that a lot of the veterans, especially if they didn't have the money right, they turned to crime. Then they became felons. So that's why in our organization, we accept felons. We accept, I don't care what kind of discharge a person got, because having went through what I went through with Fort Benning, I know that you can get these crazy discharges even when you didn't deserve them. So, I don't care what kind of discharge they got, because a lot of times they just need to challenge these things, like, I'm going to be challenged and stuff. And they need to know that they can challenge, because a lot of people don't realize that they can fight and challenge. So that's why I formed this organization, to educate people. We're based on religion. We try to be husbands. So you'll see a lot of handouts, inspirational, encouraging people. We try to educate them. And it's based off religion. You got to have faith. You got to have empower. So we want to empower other veterans to advocate for themselves. That's the whole mission, to be able to educate them, give them the tools that they need to advocate and fight for themselves, and let them know that you can fight for yourself. It's not a lost cause, but it is if you don't fight for yourself, So that's the whole purpose of the organization.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the organization has fought specific causes?
We fought a lot of causes. When I first came out, one of the first causes that we started was, I can say, homelessness. I refer a lot of people, show them where to go from homelessness, and let them know there are resources. That's one of the best things about veterans, is they have to work with the homeless veterans. If they come in and say, I'm homeless, they have to, there's a program, they have to try to get them in a room or in a hotel or somewhere. That's one of the, they used to have it inside of the VA, but that's kind of waned out through the years. So now they are very good about getting them in rooms. I know because some of the people in my program uses it extensively. So now that's one of the strongest things I can say about the VA. They will take care of the homeless, get them with the rescue mission, and use and get them in houses in the community and stuff. Get them food, get them clothes and stuff. So that's good. Balance. I work, since I've come out the Army, I've done felon restoration. And I did it when it wasn't popular. When I first came out, I hooked up with Delegate. He's a judge now, Ansley Ware. Oh, yeah, there's law office downtown across from Hotel Roanoke. I met with him because I wanted to know the legal stuff that, we had to deal with that. I also met with the city clerk, Brenda Hamilton. She trained us how to do felon restoration. She trained me and I trained my other people in the clans. And I would have to say that I feel like we restored, I'd say, in the hundreds of people because we were constantly having felon restoration, townhouse, voter registration, and we're still doing it. I'm still doing it, advocating for the felons, and I'm on the governor's felon reentry council now. And it's all kinds of resources for them, because when I started, they couldn't get jobs. They had that block on there, and I'm in the NAACP, so we fought to get that block taken out and say, are you a felon? And that's ridiculous because then they're going to be biased to side with. So now there's grants. So it's a lucrative thing for the organizations to hire felons now because they pay them to let the felons work there. So, it's a lot better. So, I have felons in my own family. Two of my brothers in and out of jail. That was another reason for me to advocate for them. I've got felons in my own family. So I'm like, and when I hear felons, I can't find a job. Yes, you can find a job, okay? You don't want to find a job because most of these places are buying and fighting to hire you. I have a list, sir. Back then when I started, it used to be a list that had about 100 places that they could look at and go to. And I still have a copy of 2 of those. So I still know what places were out of fellows. And that governor's council, it picks them up when they get out. It starts when they're still in jail. And it goes to see them in jail. The people go to see them. So when they come out, because they just throw them out on the street. They don't have a platform. They put them out. They pick them up. They carry them to a house. And that's part of the council, what they do. And so it's no excuse for failure. Failure is not an option now. Like they said in the military, if you fail, it's because you want to fail. It's jobs for you, it's housing for you. And they know you're a felon and they want you to work there. That's not how it used to be when I first came out of the Army. They were very biased against the felon to stop. So now it's no excuse. TAM. I started working with TAM, Virginia Care. So I've been working extensively with them.
Do you work with formerly incarcerated veterans within your organization? And if so, why might...
I do in my organization. We have members that were incarcerated, and we advocated for them a couple of them. In fact, 2 of them, I think we had to get that parole officer change because they were not looking at what the help. So we actually met with them and got that parole officer change. Like, this isn't working for this veteran. They're, having it hard or not. They don't need a parole officer. And that helps when you're on all these different organizations, and you get, especially when you work with a law, you can call and say, hey, look, this ain't looking good. And you're working with the city clerk, So it pays to be involved because it gives you more power and more respect. The mayor, we honor veterans. We started honoring the older veterans, but they kept dying. It's harder now to find a World War II or World War I hero veteran, but ideally that's what we try to honor, the older veterans. And we would go, because a lot of them have never received those kind of honors, we partner with the city and to get the mayor and to televise. The mayor, I get the senators to write them and honor them. The last person that I honored was 2019, before COVID hit. We went on sabbatical for 2 years because everybody was scared and they weren't coming out. But we honored Senator Edwards. We had the lieutenant governor was involved. The regular governor was involved, the mayor, several senators. So, and when we honor them, they have a pack. So when we give them just like a thick packet, because all of that stuff, I personally go around and pick them up. So I don't want them to have to mail and pay that. You see how expensive it is to mail. So Senator Warren and them will fix them for us, and we go pick them up. So, yeah. And then when we can't get the older ones, we get, well, advocates for the veterans. Like you would probably be on it because you're advocating for the veterans. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would be down there getting an award for it when you get through. I know your business now, and I get through, but you will get honored because you're advocating for doing what you're doing, honoring and recognizing other veterans that's helping other veterans. Oh, you definitely, we do honor civilians too if they're doing something to advocate for the veterans. Yeah.
Well, like you, I don't do it for honors and awards, but I appreciate that.
They need to know because look, it's extensive what you're doing, and they need to know that there's people out there that recognize that are doing stuff. And then, so like civilians that's in our organization that's working and going to all of these things, we go to we actually advocate on the local, state, and national level. We I don't know if you remember when Obama and Carter, I forget who that third president was, I think it was Clinton, met up at the National Monument in D.C. We went out and marched with that. And then we went twice that summer. I think it was 2012, because the second one we went, it was two different marches that we went with civil rights, SCLC, one on the bus with them. I drove up the first time, and then the second time we caught the civil rights bus that went up. So we advocate on the national level too. And we have members that's in different states. So my goal is to have a member in every state. So, we're national too. But we also go to the General Assembly. And usually I try to go down there during January and catch up with them. It's kind of different. I went in that this year, and it was not as fluid as you usually go from the House to the Senate, sit in there and observe. Everything's kind of cut off now due to COVID, and I think they kind of taking advantage of that. And they were ducking and diving, and not as easy to catch up with like they usually somehow to catch them all here before they go back to the General Assembly. Because we're actually circulating petitions now because you heard they're trying to close the VA hospitals. Well, I that's actually true. I got information from the VA.
You're talking about the Salem VA. Can you talk about that?
I will. It's actually, and I got staff that work at the VA, and I met with the director, talked with her about what's going on. And actually, we had the conference that you see over there. She talked, and me and her had a teleconference before we met there because I had to change the date, and she couldn't come the second time when I changed it. But she sent her people to represent. And I know for a fact that 17 VAs, I actually have the name of the VAs, which I can show you. There's 17 VAs. Salem VA is one of the ones. My daughter lives in Ohio. They just closed one of those up there. And it's 7 states and 17 VAs that's involved. And this has been in the making, Dr. Higgins, since 2018. So they've been knowing about this, so they're not going to change. So when I found out about it, as soon as I found out about it, I said at a press conference, I'm like, you walk around knowing this? And I felt kind of betrayed by organizations and things that knew this and want exposing it. I know they weren't too happy with me because I immediately set up a press conference and let people know what's going on. So now that people are watching them, they're trying to say, oh, like this is in the matter. This is the plan. Oh, we won't be doing that until 20 years down the road. That don't make me feel better because it's fall up and say you should never, you should out if it's 20 seconds from there. 20 years, 2,000 years, it's never going to be a time that I think they should close the VA hospitals. Now, I feel like if one is raggedy and falling there, you keep it going till you build another. I'm okay with that. I feel like you should build another one. but you shouldn't shut them down because what they're planning on doing, and this is why you saw me do that press conference, because I wanted people to say, I didn't know better now, or I didn't know they was going to shut down. BS. It was on all the major channels, it's in the newspaper, it's everywhere. But I wanted them to know so that they can start advocating like I'm doing. I'm circulating our mail petitions to every member I got. I'm getting ready to make copies. Probably for this weekend, there's like set up to every church here and ask them to sign them and return them to me. Some churches I'm going to probably visit them. I go to Harlem, I go to white church. Only one I don't go to is the one that got the snakes out.
Don't blame me.
I don't know which one. I think it's somewhat of help. I keep forgetting about I always ask them, do you have the snakes in there? And do you have black people in there? I don't want to get it, I get right out. But I can deal with them snakes crawling around. So anyway, I always ask, because I forget which one is the one to do it, because my aunt went into a church and she said, one man came in, now you know how they do that healing thing and smacked on the head. And she said she fell out. And when she woke up, her leg was open, her dress had fell off, and they were just preaching and going on like she won't let. I said, what church did you go to? So that's what my aunt said. That's why I go a big show that they no snakes and things, they crawling around. Because one of her friends went to one, and they pulled the snakes out, and she was terrified because she won't use the snakes. And snakes at that point did their favors that if the snake bites you and kill you, your faith won't good. You really? I'm not testing God. I had all the snakes. And they was up in there, the doors and things was shut, the snakes and things all around. Can you imagine that?
I'm not going anywhere near that.
I'm not sure that you a man and you say you ain't going, you know I'm home. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And my paper is right now bad, so I'm getting the hell out of there. So, I always ask, that's the one thing I ask, do you have snakes in your, and they usually when they have to say, no, we don't have the snakes. But, so that's what I'm going to do is get them out, get them circulated, if nothing else to break a word. Even if they don't return up to me, they've been informed, that they're planning on closing these. And when I do, just as important for you to know, when I do demonstrations, prayer visuals, I'm very selective that I don't have radical people out there acting crazy. I'm not trying to get shot. I'm not trying to get anybody else hurt on my watch. So usually I contact the organizations that I'm in that I know do peaceful marches. I don't want nobody out there hot-headed with a weapon, and everything. And I know all the ones in my part like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why you don't see me out in no Black Lives Matter, no Antifa, no Pride Force, nothing where I think I'm going to get shot up and hurt and killed. Too old, I'm already binded up enough. So I'm very careful. I do that, and advertise about that. And I make sure I always say peaceful. And I usually have the police, I sure do, to watch or be perusing and patrolling because I don't want nobody getting hurt. I have enough on my conscience. I don't need to be worried about somebody getting hurt out there on my watch. Uh-huh. And I used to brief them, and I do it on federal ground because I know that they're not going to act as crazy on federal ground. That's why you will see almost every march I do out of the park building. Or, they got a Martin Luther King bridge. That's a little short thing. I'm too old to be doing these long marches like Martin Luther King used to do. I don't know. I've done it when I was younger, but no. That's one thing I did a lot of walking when we went up to D.C. because that's hard on me. Right. That was like years ago, 2012. See where they do now. That was the last moment to D.C. march. But it's always peace.
Well, you mentioned something that was surprising to me, just the way you said it over the phone, and I was looking for more information about Black veterans in the area and how to get more involved and veterans advocacy. And you told me that, it's an intentional thing that, promote or advertise, your civil rights organizing. Can you talk more about that?
Well, as a civil rights worker, I've been doing civil rights since the 70s. So I'm a paid life member with SCLC. I've been past president of that. I've been on the board of that since '96. And that was the big part when active in '99. But even with civil rights, I'm very careful because, and you can't be a civil rights worker if you're scared, but you can be cautious because now people are so unstable, they're unhappy, they're frustrated, and everything selling, shooting, and killing. So whenever I go to anything now, because I know people are frustrated, I worked on psych, I know people are unstable. So I don't care what kind of event I'm in, I try to be careful. And usually, if I'm gonna do something that's not on federal property, I'm gonna to the cops because I know they got the radios and they're gonna be, security gonna be tighter. So if I have to do, and most of the time, honestly, tell you the truth, a lot of times, even if I do a family reunion, because just to be safe because it's so big, and so many people come. Sometimes I even have security there. Security for me, that's a big thing. And because I've been in so many places that I don't feel secure, like I said, the whole time I was at Fort Benning, I feared for my life the whole time. And see your post, so I couldn't have a weapon would be in my room, And I was frustrated because you can believe I got weapons now, and because I feel secure with that. But it's nothing worse than feeling vulnerable and stuff. But as far as civil rights, um, a lot of it I don't do because of age and health. I can't do these long marches. And any march I'll do like their SCRC's march, they're old too, like I am older. So they'll do the little short march across the bridge. If I march at the top building, we go from the front to the back, So it's something sensible that my old people will do, but they gonna tell you, I ain't doing all that stuff. You tell you, they're not even gonna come with a lot of marching. And a lot of times we'll just set up the chairs like we did so people can sit down and support it without having to march. And usually most of the things that I do are educational because I'm informing them. And honestly, I tell you, before pandemic, I always brought food. I always bring chicken and stuff and drinks and stuff. Pandemic has changed. That's the one thing that has changed because I always brought food for my marches and stuff.
Right.
But now with pandemic, you got to be so careful and stuff.
Do you think that it's gotten harder to do the type of activism that you've been involved with in recent years?
I think it has been because it's more dangerous now. Because everybody has a weapon. Even children have guns, and people are more unstable, in my opinion, now. And they're angry, and I think they're not handling stress as well. And it is a stressful time. I wait for the younger generation now, trying to go to school and trying to work on the job because they don't treat them right, and they mistreat the young people. Because I know my daughter's 34, and I know what she's gone for on her job stuff because she has bad health too. And if they're sick and they're young, they don't even want to hear that. If they're young, your fault, they think they're faking and stuff. So I wait for the young generation because it's a lot harder for them. Because when I was young, I was working 3 or 4 jobs, the job just like it because they were so plentiful. It's not like that now. And it's harder for them. And then they come out, they got these crazy tuition because I'm helping my daughter with her tuition. It's crazy, how they want to charge them $1,000. They don't have that kind of money. And if that hurts to him, he gets suicide. So, but yeah, I think it's a lot harder now. People are afraid. Most of the civil rights workers that's been doing it with me, they're all like I am. While the founder of SCLC, and she's 88. So she can't get out there like she used to be. Her health is bad. And NAACP's president, Hill, is 70 something. So she's not able to do like she used to do. I'm 65. I can't do like I used to do. So I've seen the civil rights organizations cutting back on all the stuff that they do because the membership is lower, because people, they're either afraid or unable to do it. Because I know, because I've been out there with them. We used to do trips. We used to go to D.C. I went up there. I used to be in charge, like with SNC, organizing the marches when they come across. Most of those members have died out in both organizations. So, even my sorority, we almost closed down because we couldn't get a treasurer. It's hard to get people to serve it, though. And I'm like, when you sit there watching your sorority all school, and you're like, damn, this is getting bad. But our membership is going up because we're open. I'm one of the, when you get older, they call you a Delta Terror. I'm one of them. I'm 65. So now I'm up to Delta Terror. Got me all up in the old roof. But, we're watching the chapters close, the sororities, and this is for the younger people. They're getting suspended because they can't do all this stuff. And if what you find is in an organization that's national, that's one thing I like online. It's not national. We don't have to abide by all these crazy rules. I have my civil rights organization are national. They're stressing because half of the money they take in, they have to send to national. DAB, half the money they take, they have to send to national.
Right.
We went to this training and no kind of COVID separation. I'm like, what? The table was like, we all like sardines like this. I'm like, this is COVID. Why are we training like this? So it'll probably be a while before I go back to training like that, because I'm like, you just can't, people are scared.
Right.
So it's affecting activism, and so with my group, a lot of my activism is mostly educational and have been anyway. We do sensible stuff, but almost everything we do is televised. When we do, Coach they want to come and see if you're going to do what you're going to say. Because if you advertise that you're going to do a community day of love and give stuff, they always invite the press, like with the press, and they're always there. Press is good, and especially if you're respectful to them and keep them informed, they will come. And I think they come to validate that you got to do what you're going to say you're going to do. If you say you're going to be giving away stuff, you better. I don't know if you remember when that reporter got shot and killed, a young pretty girl. This was like around 2010. She had just interviewed us at our community day of love at the library the day before. And the next day, they shot her and killed her on the lake. I can't think of her name right now. Beautiful girl. Next day, some disgruntled employee at CVS, child shot and killed.
Oh my gosh.
Young girl, pretty girl. But she had just done out in bed the day before. So it's dangerous. Anytime you're doing anything public, it's dangerous. So it's not a term that I'm doing press conferences that I don't 1 second realize I'm a target. So one thing you're gonna notice about my events, and never real long. I don't want to give if someone riding by. I did something that was the longest event I've done in years. When they did the community, it was my first time doing that this year. Community block party out in the open. Because I wanted visibility, I want them to see that we're out there, we're having the community. But I normally don't stay. They were there I got there at 9 and I left at 2. Took 2 hours to set up. They started it. I got there at 9. They started it at 11 and they ended at 2. That's the longest I've been in an event of a long time. Because to me, it's dangerous. So, I do it because it had to be done. We gave away a lot of stuff. We gave away, and that was one of the few things that I did that they didn't tell me. I guess she didn't know how to contact the press, but I told her, next time she do that, I'm going to make sure she up with the press, because they need to know that you have events that people not get shot at and they give it away because it was really good. They gave away a lot of food, a lot of different things to the community, and it was nice, because all you see on TV is the bad stuff that happened.
Right.
But as far as advocating, it's a lot harder than that. Just people are scared. COVID has not helped with that at all. It's made it hard. For my group, a lot of it, I use my own money anyway. I try not, because it's a smaller group, I try not to touch the treasurer unless it's something like a press conference where it's going to cost about $500 to pull together, because we had to get banners and I had to get chairs and stuff. So that, to do an event like that, it sticks around about 500. And we get, right then they get the cheers, because I always get cheers on old people set, everybody not gonna stand. So it's expensive to do these events. I space on a lot. So I try to balance a couple of expensive ones. If I'm gonna do that, I'll do the next expensive one. I'll probably do another visual around November. I usually do something in November. But I will tell you, just the city has made it difficult to advocate. I don't know what's going on there, because now you have to get risk management insurance. I've never had to do that before. So I don't know if they're using co-vendors in this case, but I'm going to catch up with the mayor and I'll let him know, what's going on with that and what I think about that. I'm simply out there. I'm going to catch up with another group that's out there and get my little petition. So I'm actively now start going around to places and get signatures and petition. I'm on my way to Johns Hopkins. I'm carrying a friend of mine. We're going to get signatures in Maryland. Then when I go up to Ohio, my daughter's still on play. We're going to get signatures up there. I'm circulating signatures to all the people in the other states and help them get some signatures. And even if they don't get but 3, I'm going to staple up together. And when I meet with these politicians, I'll say, see, this is not just people in Virginia that's not happy, but you try to shut down our VA hospital. And then by the time you see the next press conference, which I'll let you know is attached to you, they're going to have a stack of, and even if it's just like 3 signatures, I told them, because they're older, they're not going to do a whole lot of running around. But I said, you do what you can do. You can do something. If I can get out of here and do this, you can do something. You got a church, you got a job, you got a family. Everybody got a family. You got neighbors. You're not living in a hammock somewhere in like Crocodile Dundee. So you got some neighbors, So do something, So, if I can do all of this running around, you can do something. So, but we do, But I have noticed a big, significant decrease in advocacy. Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Saunders, I'm just inspired by all of your efforts and your drive and your passion for civil rights and for veterans. I'm just amazed by the work that you do. And I look forward to learning more about that. And I'm curious, how are you getting young people involved? Are you able to reach that community?
Because we have some young members. We have a couple of members that one is in the 30s, one is in the 40s. I reach out to them. Like I say, I advocate in the church that I was involved with. I'll go to the one around the corner now because we moved across town. That's a gas crisis. I'm like, oh, y'all not gonna see me. I'm going to the church around the corner.
Right.
And so I go to churches that's close by. And I don't care what religion, like I say, as long as it's not them snake things, I crawl up to something close by. But I'm reaching out to the churches and trying to, and that's a good question because in this group, people have to be 18. And the reason that I do that, Dr. Higgins, is because everybody's not honest about themselves and what's going on. They're not going to tell you if they got felons or if they're a sexual predator stuff. And because I don't really have no problem with somebody's kid getting snatched up, everybody that joins has to be 18, right? Have to be grown. Now, we have an event, because like I'm getting book bags and stuff together for some youth now. And for like domestic violence, they can bring their kids. I'm actually thinking, I was thinking about that the other night. I'm going to have like over the corner somewhere, little pools at each one of them, because it's cold, we'll have their own little pool and some crayons. and so stuff for the kids. Because a lot of them will be single moms, and they gonna have to bring their kids. That way the kid will be quiet while we doing our little adult stuff and everything. So I'm already figuring how to include them if they have to bring their kids. But I'm going to be going down to rescue mission, and it's a lot of veterans down there. And we do that. We take and I'm in DAB, that's veterans, and their membership is down. Everything I'm in the membership is down. But to answer your question, I'm actually gonna have to do radio. In the past, we've had radio shows and go on there and this message that I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about these petitions, getting them involved. I'm actually reaching out with the Tribune that you saw that message and opened it up and said, is anyone interested in joining? You know, and then I don't know, you got to be 18 and older. All branches is welcome, civilians is welcome. And, but I think we're going to be hitting up the churches, all of before going to all back and say, that's the one with the snakes, going like ass going there. But we're going to go and advocate and leave out memberships and stuff and put the petitions and stuff out and talk to them. But the fastest way for me to do that is I'm going to go on radio programs and talk to them on 5100 and WTOY and get that message out, to put out flyers and stuff like that. Yeah.
What's an important message?
It is. Because when you're trying to take away our hospitals, and I'm letting these politicians know that that's not acceptable. It's never going to be acceptable to me. You're going to see, even if I like you, I'm just saying it's not fair to take away something that you promised us when we served. We will always have hospitals, and I don't care what era it is. Even if I'm dead, there's going to be some veteran that don't serve that, log old and needs our place to go to. And that's important, Dr. Higgins, because I myself have traveled and forgot my medicines and had to go to the VA to get a stop. I went to, when I was fighting on 100%, I went to the VA. I had the worst migraine. I had to spend the night on the ER. And 3 o'clock, they got them giving me some pain medicine. I'm like, I'm not going out there at 3 o'clock. Are you crazy trying to find out? They let me sleep in the ER. Being a homeless guy. He was over the corner. And they let us sleep down. Now, what would I have done if I couldn't have went to a VA? So it's very important that they keep our facilities open, because what they're trying to do, which is not going to work for the veterans, is create CBOC, which is community-based outpatient clinic, and satellites. But they're not going to be full service. And that's what I'm trying to advocate, and let the veterans know. Okay, they're trying to, because they're trying to budget things. See, I know what they're going, because I'm involved out there. It's all about the budget, Dr. Higgins, because they got these wars, and they got all these buses of immigrants coming, and then they deal with all of it. They got guns, these violence and stuff, and crimes and stuff. But you can't expect the veterans to secure the world all of their back after they've already served, because it's not fair. So I'm letting them know, we need to be advocating and let these politicians know that you're watching them. And as long as I'm keeping it out there, keeping people aware, they can't say they did. The veterans can't say they don't know. You said you saw that, you did, but I'm like, so now, if you're watching the news at all, and then you know what's going on, because right now, people is not shutting down. They wanted half of us on the list to be shut down. And I'm not okay with that, because I want to be fluid like I am now. If I'm traveling and I'm down in Georgia and I need to go to Fort Benning or Fort Gordon, I have someone that I can go to. And that's going to be significant for the homeless veterans, because what's going to happen is people who are dependent on bus lines to travel. A lot of the veterans don't have cars. And they're going to be hurt the most, sir, if they close them down, because where they're planning on doing is get to CBOC, a satellite clinic, but they're not going to be local. They're going to be going to West Virginia or Baffert, Now, what you gonna do if you first of all too old to travel, too sick to travel, you just screwed. If you don't have a car, you're screwed. So what are they gonna do for the homeless? I think they're gonna end up losing a lot. People gonna be dying because they're not able to travel. They don't have the funds. Some people can barely make it now. What do you think that's gonna be like when they get these sea box? They're not gonna be local. I already know they're not gonna be local. The closest place they might put them, I think at first they would consider it Mill Mountain Lake. That's not on a bus line or Barefoot or West Virginia. That's gonna be a mess.
Right.
So I'm trying to get these better ones. That's why I'm trying to put it out there, Dr. Higgins, so nobody can say, "Oh, I didn't know." I'm even gonna fight to get that bus service. They're not gonna be too happy with me. My the bike spare is my sorority sister. She's not gonna be too happy because I'm about to hit that nail with a bow or knee or whichever one in that. Let them know it's crazy that you have a bus that comes halfway down Williamson Road and turn around. When you got Hollins students out here, I know what it's like to be in college and not have a car. And you walk it back and forth to the grocery. That would change down like drastically, Dr. Higgins. If the bus could just come down a block or two more, pick up these students, circle and go back, and then they have the opportunity to go to the malls or to the theater and stuff rather than to be stuck on it. And it's COVID too. That will open up a whole new world because then they can do this bus connections, catch on this just to get off the campus.
Right.
So they're going to hear from me for this summer's up. My Hollins president is about to be very upset with me, Dr. Higgins, because I know for a matter before the school semester was out, told her, "You have no disability over here at this library. You have to walk a good distance." Now, I have a whole bunch of books and stuff doing my research and stuff. I haven't got with the sponsor. No one contacting within the next week, ACRU. And I'm going to tell them, you get on up here to Hollins because I'm going to show them the letter. I bet you a dinner. They want to get some handicap stickers over there. They got all kinds of wide spaces. All they got to do is paint a couple. You don't have that many disabled students, Dr. Higgins, and to me it's very disrespectful that I told you that you have a hand. I guess they figure, oh, no one will be leaving something. And that's why I'm advocating, because I know they won't pay a young person any attention. They wanted it because I know when my daughter went through, I had to raise her when she went to Alport and get handicap stuff out there. And I'm like, before I leave Hollins, they're going to have some kind of disability spots out there. Because now the disability spots is like way away. I'm like, what the hell kind of disability is that? That's not doing me no good. And I'm walking some days with a walker and stuff. And that's what it is. If you think I'm joking, or you think you drive, and I can drive and show you where the library is. And you see that, you will say, this is no way. This is just, it ain't nowhere close to the library. That's ridiculous, Dr. Higgins. So I'm about to send her a second letter. And Irene, she think, I forgot. I'm going to send her another letter. And then if she don't respond again, I'm going to be already there talking to the rail about getting this transportation up here. Because that's bad that you ignore your disabled. Because we have some young people. I've seen some of them in wheelchairs since I've been there. You get young people, this disabled and stuff. They need that. And I guess they figured there ain't no need to be with me because I'm old and they trying to ignore me. But she's not going to be too happy. But I would feel bad as an older person, as an advocate, leaving. Because I know they're not going to pay the young ones no attention if they complain. But I'm going to catch up with that disability, Dr. Lang, and send it to her again. And I'm going to say, I see that there's been no response to my previous letter. And before I go outside, I'm just reminding you that we still need to address it. I bet you a dinner, they gonna fix that, Dr. Higgins. That can't. I would feel bad as a civil rights people leaving that there, knowing that they're not even trying to correct it. And the thing is, they got plenty of wide streets. It won't take them no problem to make at least one or two. they're never going to have more than one or two handicapped persons at a time, but they make a difference to that handicapped person. I've been getting in trouble for parking because I couldn't walk way over there. Twice the security came and said, "What you doing parking?" I said, "Oh, my knees was hurt." And I couldn't walk over there. And they didn't write me up. But I said, "Well, you can remember my name because I'm going to contact that president." And they said, "Well, we can get you a special permit." I don't want a special permit for me. I want a thing that's like it should be for anybody that's disabled. I wouldn't feel, I don't want them to give me no special permit. No, that's ignoring the problem. You doing a short time answer. I want you to fix this permanently so that if I come back and want to work on another master's or just take a course for fun, I know I'm going to have a handicap thing right there at the library. Why would you have, I want you to look at that and see how far. You might be too tired for it, but it's way, way away from the building. I've never seen nothing like that anywhere before. There's no way. It's kind of like, I can't even think of a place that got the handicap way, way from the building. It's ridiculous.
It's against the law here.
It's only like a couple of them. And anyway, yeah, some big walk. And like when you dealing with a lot of books, because usually like I've had 100 books at a time out there. I've got about 10 out there. And then I had to park illegal and hope that the cop don't come get me before I rush and throw them upstairs. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So but I'm going to advocate like get them involved. I tried to ask her to get her permission, but I'm going to advocate for that bus to come about without her permission. I don't need her permission to advocate with the mayor as Roanoke County. I've already reached out to them to try to get that bus service to come on with it. Sometimes you just have to step out on faith, and that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, that's how I'm going to try to reach out to the young folks through the radio program, WTOY. And in the past, we went on that like about 30 minutes at a time. And I would have to do 5 because they got better connection if I can get them to be supportive. And newspaper, like what you saw, yeah, they do be there.
So it sounds like you raised a lot of hell, Mrs. Saunders.
I'm not some people's favorite person, that thing.
Well, it sounds like they have to be, though, you know?
I have to. If you don't advocate for yourself and for other people who are not able to, it won't get done, you know. But it's like Senator Lewis say, it's good trouble. It's good trouble, yeah. But, you know, I follow the channels and all, but we try to get, sometimes we want to honor people, they don't want to be honored. We have had people like on that honor thing, they don't want to be honored. It's it ain't our place. We have people to let you honor.
Maybe it's humility a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned good trouble and you mentioned John Lewis. So I'd like to kind of move toward a conclusion of the interview. And the question I always ask is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I haven't thought to ask or something that you wanted to go back to?
No.
Perhaps you want to talk a little about your research with domestic violence.
You've been pretty thorough. I have doing domestic violence, research on domestic violence, because I did grow up with that, unfortunately. And so I want to teach women that they do have options, and I want to teach them warning signs and just educate, because believe it or not, domestic violence is still very prevalent. When I started with it, I said, oh, that's going to be better. We're not going to be, but it's just as prevalent and bad. In fact, it got worse during the pandemic because a lot of times women can't get out. And we lost a lot of people during the pandemic because they were locked in with an abuser. So, you know, pandemic, it was worse than I actually did statistics on it, and that was worse than pandemic. But I want women to know that they can get out of the situation. I'm in some dangerous situation myself with that, and I want women to know, you know, although men have abuse too, some men are abused too, and that's what a lot of people don't know. But for my research, I'm focusing on women and to teach them, you know, coping strategies to help them to survive. And I'm actually going to, when I finish my research, write a book on it and get it out there. And I talked to my, so I spoke to you later, so I talked to my research about it, and he's giving me green light. So I'm going to be going down to Rescue Mission, Trust House, and doing some volunteer work there and start doing roots research. So you'll be seeing that advertised too. And just getting them to open up, do like me and you're doing, and do several groups. And I've been doing a lot. I started to do a community giveaway, but since a lot of them have children, I'm getting the stuff together to, like I told you, to give them, you know, to give our children and all. So I'm excited about that, but it do sadden me that they're missing balance. And now you got sexual abduction, and you know, we got that going on, and it's just saddened me that there's so many unstable people, and they're still doing these crimes. And people don't realize how bad sexual abduction and trafficking is in Virginia. And actually, Dr. Higgins, one day I was at the laundromat, and I don't know for what, I just had the funny feeling that the lady that went in the laundromat with me was being held some kind of way against her will. I left that laundromat and went and called the police and told them I'm not sure. It's just a women's intuition thing. And they did come. And I think that man knew that I had some kind of wasted. They were gone.
All right.
They were gone. They got out of there. But I felt that he had that, you know, she just seemed so scared and timid and stuff. And he says, I'm like, what are you looking at us for? You know, just be a paranoid. And I said, something ain't right about that. So, yeah. But I didn't regret. I just regret that the police taking that fast enough. They
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, like it's so, and that's very prevalent. Then you watch these lifetime shows and they telling you, you know, how this stuff is going on. It's very prevalent.
But it seems to me that you just have this endless energy for community service and
You
the,
do a lot of community service.
and making the world a better place one step at a time. And I'm just so thankful for you sharing your story with me and for sitting down and telling me all about the advocacy work that you have.
I do help homeless people. I will tell you that a lot of times, like if I see homeless people and I see them on the video, I do give them money. And in fact, I usually keep money in my, what's that over here thing to hand down, because I usually give, like if I have $5 and they look, I go by how they look, because truly homeless person is gonna look real disheveled a lot of time. Now, I see one that he got on some designer pants that he looking better than me. Look like he probably just got a console. I figured they're just shaft, you know, because you see some people out there just to get the money. But if I see one that look hungry, I have actually one that got food and came back and gave it to them. If I see somebody that look like I evaluate them. If they look like they just drank or they look like they are intoxicated, I'm gonna give them food and a beverage. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to be eating some nourishment. But if they look like, you know, if I see someone and they look like they tired, they've been there, I sometimes give them food and something to drink. So it depends on the situation, you know. So yeah, but I'm pretty good about giving all those people stuff. If I see them in that media, I'll go it down a little bit and give them $1 or $2. But I usually keep loose dollars for that. I sometimes will give them a roll of quarters, because if that's all I got, that's all you gonna get. But very rarely, unless it's in a dangerous situation and I can't reach them, will I not give.
Is there, so my final question is, is there some message that you would want the public to know based on, your experiences or your advocacy or the your reason for helping other people? Is there something that you would want to let younger people know about this?
I would like for people to know that any chance, any given day, your whole life situation will change. And you can go from being because it's happened to me, so I know it can happen. You can go from having a job and having a good, comfortable lifestyle, a good job, good house, to health can happen. You can lose your health and not be able to take care of yourself, get a divorce. And if you're not used to being the one to bring the money in, then you could be homeless. So you should not look at anyone that's in a less fortunate situation with disdain and judging them negatively, because that could happen to you. You could lose your health. So you should be more empathetic, more compassionate, and generous. And what I would like to educate the first person to know is that it's more than one way to time. And what they need to know is that God see you when you're helping other people. Because I think a lot of times people want to put on a show, and that's not what it's about.
Are you okay?
I think when you've been there, you look at it different. See, I think people need to realize that how you treat other people is what you get. I've been through domestic violence. I've been through so many bad scenarios that I can emphasize. That's different.
Mrs. Saunders, I want to thank you again for sharing your story with me.
Thank you. And I have some names for you. I meant to bring them today, but I was trying to calculate together.
I understand.
It's been a busy week, but I do have some names that I'm going to send you. Veterans that's in other benefit groups, and they're doing good stuff too. And one day, I told her about you, and she's okay with that. And I got one person I have been able to reach yet, and then it's another person just in another veteran organization. I think that would be fun. I'm gonna make sure that it's okay with them first.
Yeah, please
But,
do.
but the woman said that she's okay with that. So that should be good for you to talk to. So if all of them do it, it'll be 3 contacts for you. They're all here locally.
That would be so great. Thank you so much. And
Because I think what you're doing is awesome. And once I get through, if I should decide to do my doctor, I don't know, I'm kind of wild right now. I will contact you and certainly interview you, because what you're doing to recognize the veterans, it's good. It's very, very good.
well, thank you for that, because it helps me stay motivated. And thank you for your service, and thank you for sharing your story with me. I'm gonna